Alright, in this video we'll be talking about my onboard insurance policy, or things that I take with me everywhere I go. So we'll get started. I crawl up beside my truck here. Alright. So I have this truck box in the back of my truck, and I keep it stocked with things that are useful to me in my particular area, and could also be helpful in the event of an emergency. Whether that be, natural disaster or mechanical problem with the truck, or anyhow, so things that I keep to kind of make life a little easier and help me out, and also make things kind of convenient. So we'll go over a few of those things. This is constantly changing depending on time of year and season and things like that. One of the most important things that I bring with me everywhere I go is a blanket, a spare blanket. I have young kids. We do a lot of outdoor stuff. Sometimes they get cold. Sometimes we'll have a picnic and want something to lay down. So anyhow, long story short, I carry a blanket. Also, if you're going to be outside with kids, very important item, toilet paper. It's not such a problem for me, but with the kids, they like having conveniences like that. I have different sources of making fire. My fire piston is in here. I have a couple of different ways to make char cloth that I keep in here. Things like that. There's an alcohol stove. If you watch my previous videos, I keep one of those in here. I've talked about this in earlier videos. This is my mess kit, little pot, little pan. I have another alcohol stove in here as well as a couple of cups and, utensils and things like that. So I bring that with me. I have a tiny little frying pan and a tiny little flat griddle. I've talked about these in previous videos as well. Go out, catch a fish, cook it right there on the trail with these and one of my little alcohol stoves. So I bring those with me. This is a little 12-volt air compressor. It has a built-in flashlight and pressure gauge, and I carry this around to air up tires and things like that. Kind of handy. Runs off your 12-volt cigarette lighter plug in your vehicle. I have a couple bottles of fuel for my alcohol stoves I carry with me, and again, each one of these bottles would probably run the alcohol stove for, I don't know, there's 12 ounces. So I get about 10 minutes per ounce, so you're looking at 120 minutes per bottle of cook time with my little alcohol stove. So keep a couple bottles of that. I keep a small bag of condiments with me, salt, pepper, ketchup, mustard. It never fails. It seems like every time I go through a drive-thru, somebody's burger gets messed up. So I keep this kind of stuff with me. I keep this tiny little fishing pole. I do a lot of fishing. I love fishing. I enjoy it. And, several times I'll find myself in an area I haven't been before and think, oh man, I really want to fish right there. I always keep a fishing pole with me. I'm kind of an outdoorsy kind of a guy, and so fishing pole's always on hand. Jumper cables. I have not personally had the need for these, but several people I've come across in my travels have seemed to have a need for them, so I'm glad I keep them around. It's kind of a backup insurance for yourself, but also to help a person out if they need it. So I always keep a pair of jumper cables with me. I keep a gallon of water in here for drinking purposes, but also in the event that your car were to overheat or you need water or something like that. Now, I'm fortunate in my area that I'm surrounded by lakes and streams and creeks. Not to mention we get several inches of rainfall a year. I'm sure they measure rain around here in feet, not inches. So water literally falls out of the sky. During the summertime I may carry an extra gallon, but as equally important to me as the water is the jug that it's in, because I can use that to refill out of various sources. So I keep a gallon of water with me. A couple of little card games and things like that. Spare pack of batteries. For a flashlight, I have a flashlight in the cab. I guess I didn't get that out to show you, but flashlight's a very important thing to carry with you, and one of the reasons I carry it is it seems like whenever something goes wrong, it's always at night. So having a flashlight on hand is very handy. It saved my butt numerous times. I keep a couple different cans of canned food in here. For instance, this one's beef stew. There's a couple of clam chowders in here. Things like that, where in the event I were to break down or something like that, or not be able to get out of an area that particular night, if I was forced to stay or something like that, we have something I can feed the kids with. And, it just makes life a little easier when you're not worried about an empty stomach. I keep this small little shovel with me, very handy in the event you gotta, obviously it's a shovel, dig something. Whether it's digging a hole to put something on your tire for traction to get out of a sticky situation or what have you. So I keep this shovel with me. I have a hatchet that I always bring with me, whether it be for kindling or firewood, or, I do a lot of playing out in the woods and things like that, and there's been several times where I'll drive into an area and come back 2 hours later and a tree has fallen across the road. Generally, during the wintertime, I'll keep a chainsaw in my box. I don't have it with me at the moment. It's something I got to get in here. But at the very least, at least I could bucky beaver my way through a tree if I had to. So I keep a small hatchet with me. I keep a tow rope. This one here is about 20 feet. It's a little old, it's a little brittle, but it still works fine. So I keep a tow rope for me or someone I may come across. I do keep a toolkit in here. This is a fairly decent toolkit. Screwdrivers, Torx drives, metric and American, 3/8 drive, 1/2-inch drive, and 1/4-inch drive in deep and shallow socket, as well as a set of pliers and a few end wrenches. So it's a pretty nice kit to keep with me. I haven't come across any situation yet that hasn't been able to repair or get me out of. And of course, like all of this stuff, you can add to it. This isn't like everyone should do exactly what I have here. This is just to get me by. In the event of an emergency, if something were to break or things like that. I keep a pair of leather work gloves. If I have to drag out chain or cable or something like that, I don't want to be stabbing myself on wire barbs, so a pair of leather gloves. I also keep, in here, is a cable come-along. I'm not going to unwrap it because it's kind of a pain in the butt. But I keep a cable come-along in there, as well as 20 foot of chain. I don't have a winch on this vehicle, so in the event I were to get stuck, I need a way to recover myself, self-recovery. So I keep a cable come along and 20 feet of chain, and between the 20 foot of chain, 15 feet or so that's on the cable come along, and my 20-foot rope, I've always been able to get to something to get myself out. Again, I have a few more cans of food here and there, but these are things that I keep with me everywhere I go. This changes. If I'm going to go out to the beach, I'll throw in a few towels and a change of clothes for the kids or things like that, as well as myself. If I'm going up in the snow, there'll be extra jackets and things like that packed in here. So it changes depending on where I'm going and what I'm doing. But generally, this is about what I keep in here at all times. It also changes for seasons. Summertime, I'll carry an extra gallon of water and things like that. So I guess this will conclude the video of my onboard insurance policy. I also keep it's in the cab of course, but I keep a large utility knife. It's not really for precision or filleting a fish, but it's more of a utilitarian kind of a knife. It's also good to keep something like that. Again, there's several people I'm sure that are going to disagree and say, oh, that's worthless and you didn't mention this, and that's fine. This isn't like a bug-out box or anything. This is just in the event that my horrible luck rears its head again. Generally, this has been enough to get me through, or help keep the kids calm or comforted. So Please rate and comment, subscribe. Thanks for watching.